Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie Walsh with you today. I have the Pixel Nesting die and I have the Happy Birthday Balloons die. I'm going to make a little bit of a different card. This is actually, I had someone in mind for this card. Let's just put it that way. My father's birthday is coming up and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I've die cut my words, my happy birthday to you, out 3 times, and we've layered that up and glued that all together. That's going to make it a little bit stronger and a little bit depth. I've got the Robot Friends stamp set. At this point, I didn't know which one I wanted to use, and I had this scrap piece of cardstock that I thought, let's just stamp it on that. I'm also going to use the nesting dies with that. That stamped out pretty well the first time, but I just gave it a little bit extra and then I missed a bit in the center. That's purely me. I've got Prismacolor pencils. We've got the Cool Grey. So 50% Cool Greys is the 1063. The 30% is the 1061. And then down to 20%, which is, of course, the last one. I do use them a little bit like Copic markers in this way, going over it twice. I just was happier when I did that. But saying that, I'm not going to stress about a lot of the robot. It's mostly these bigger areas, like with his arms, that I'm going to provide a little bit of blending. And that is okay because your eye is going to see that and it's not going to see all the other little bits and pieces. I can't say this blue. It's like cerulean blue, which is the 103. And this goes against what I've just said. I haven't used any extra additional colors with this. It's just the straight blue. What I might have done in places, and it's really tiny, I doubt it, I may have had a little bit heavier hand with some areas that I want slightly darker. But at this point, I wasn't really fussing with it too much. You're going to get lots of different fun colors and shading and everything else with just using a little bit of hands, with a little bit of pressure. So I've got a silicone mat here. I've got the navy, the pool and the cement inks, and we're going to do a little bit of sponging. This mat does, I don't know what I was thinking here, because this mat holds it really, really well, but I've got a little piece of cardstock. So if you didn't have a silicone mat or some sort of, you could just use a bit of cardstock so your hands don't leave oily prints, because we're busy, we do lots of stuff. I am going to go over this 2 times. Now I am using the blending brushes, so it's going to have a nice soft little like just a soft soft blend to it. I have used the cardstock just to make sure my cement wasn't too dark. Now I was pretty sure it wasn't, but it's been a little while since I've used it, so I used a scrap piece of paper just to tap it and see how dark it's going to be. And now we're going back through a second time just to smooth out any areas that I wanted to. And I've got the navy and I'm doing the tiniest little bit around the edges because I thought that might be fun to frame it a little bit. So here's my pixel die cut, and this is what I'm looking at. Now at this point, this pixel, the die cut is really stark, and I do actually want that. I do want it to stand out, but I am going to soften that down, so just stay tuned for that one. I have the So Extra 1.0 sentiment pack, and I've got a lot of little bits and pieces, so I'm trying to use some of those up. So I don't know whether I'm going to use the Sunshine or the Keep Smiling. I do now, but at the time. I've got C7, C5 and C3, And I'm just colouring the top of my die cuts with a little bit of just going down through blending. So it's a little bit of an ombre type of look. I'm going to cut most of this out because I'm doing the same thing with all the letters, but I thought I'd show you the bigger letters. And it's nice and easy, honestly. I am using it, obviously, with some tweezers just to hold those down a little bit. So I've got all my letters. I'm using the negative die cut there just to figure out which letters are going to go where and how they sit nicely together. We're not keeping it in that balloon shape, but this is where we're going to use it a little bit differently. I'm just playing with it because I want it all to sit in this pixel die cut. We've got the day, and that's sort of the hard work really done. It's just making sure that that's all sitting on that die. I also wanted to make sure, well, you don't have to, but I wanted to make sure that my O in my U was, the right one. So I'm going to use the sunshine. So happy birthday to you, sunshine. But it's, okay, so my father is, he's got a warped sense of humour. He's English, so I'm English, so I'm allowed to say this. He's got a little bit of a warped sense of humour. And he's a little bit of a grumpy old man. I love him to death, but he is. And he has T-shirts to say it. So I've used a little bit of that cement ink again to go around my pixel just to soften that down. So my father will say, hello, sunshine, happy birthday, sunshine, all this sort of stuff. But he has the T-shirts for a grumpy old man club. And it tickled my funny bone to have this hello, sunshine, but this grumpy little robot. I think he's adorable. He's so cute. And so I've put those together and I thought that was just fun. So we're going to use it on a little bit of graced cardstock, but I thought it was a little bit too, like the white was just being a very obvious and clear. So we're going to sort of soften that down a little bit with a bit of white cardstock. And we've got some foam on our back of our little grumpy robot. He just looks grumpy to me. I think he's adorable. That's why I call him the grumpy little robot. I'm also going to mount up my card panel here for a little bit of extra depth because we all like that. So I've got dimension on the letters with the 3 die cuts all together. I've got dimensions under the pixel nesting, and I've got dimensions under the panel. The robot's going to have a little bit of dimension as well. So there is dimension coming out of your ears, basically. So we're going to tuck the little sunshine in, just figuring out my placement. So we're going to glue him down with just some straight glue because he is going to sit onto that pixel nesting die, so that's not going to cause a problem. So I just need to lift up that tiny bit. There we go. So it wouldn't be my card if I didn't put some crystals on it or something. So we're going to do that. Just using a little bit of wet glue just to adhere those down. And play with those and figure out where I want those. The last thing that I'm going to do, which I have done a few times recently, is using glossy accents to carefully go over my die cut letters. And this is going to give them more dimension because we all need more. A little bit of shine and just fun. So he's got 2, I don't know what they're going to call, 2 little light globy things on his head and his eyeball. We'll use a bit of glossy accent on that. So that's it for me today. I hope you're well. Take care. I'll talk soon. Bye.